Hi, this is Random, and this is going to be first of a few reviews I have coming with old retro games. First, I'll do a short intro. I used to do podcasts on the retroids.com network, also known as VGEvo.com. In the past, it's gone through a couple of iterations, but I reviewed and talked about primarily current gen systems at the time. So that would have been last gen, would have been the Xbox 360. And so now I'm turning towards maybe some retro consoles. My focus is on maybe games that you've missed, that you should pick up, that you should look for, that are worth your time and going back and checking out. So today, without further ado, and excuse my shitty webcam quality, I have Parodius for the Super Famicom, or also known as the Super Nintendo here by Konami. And not to be confused with the Nintendo version of the same name, Parodius as well. And that cart looks like this. And again, I don't speak or read Japanese. So this was more or less stumbled upon at a gaming convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin called the Midwest Gaming Classic. So from the menu here, you have an option of one player. Two player is alternating, not simultaneous. And unlike Gradius and Life Force, you can select from 4 different ships here. We can see there's a Vic Viper, which is like your standard ship, an octopus, some sort of thin bee, and what looks to be like a penguin. Then you also have an option for either auto or manual for the updates. And similar to Gradius, you collect the power-ups and then basically cash in. For the demo purposes here, you'll see I'd set it up just as an auto, just so you can see a highlight. So obviously you've got your speed, your two-way, tail gun, which shoots out the rear. You've got ripple, which is a wider shot option, which allows a smaller ship that doesn't get killed when it runs into enemies. And then there's a question mark, which is basically just, usually when I get that, I've had it basically reset me. I don't know why. And then you have your O-trap, which is more or less a thing that sits on the nose of the plane and absorbs damage. So it's kind of like having a shield. But it's 1 kill, 1 death here in this game. So it's not unlike what you're used to with Gradius and Life Force or Salamander, if you want to call it that. So some of the more ridiculous things you'll see in this game are like this giant woman that's dancing on the floor and ceiling, and ultimately you find out that you have to make it back and forth under her legs and you don't actually kill her. One of the big themes in this game you'll see is there's a lot of giant women that you have to either destroy or avoid, which is weird. There's also a giant dog face looking rocket ship that will spit out its nose and mouth. Very creative. There's some segments of this I question whether or not you're really supposed to make it through, but I seem to make it anyways. I may or not have used some cheat codes to get through here. So just full disclosure, I kind of just wanted to see visually what this game had in store. But I definitely anticipate trying to play through it. And then there's this enemy that you came across with, and I'm just going to kind of let this play and you make up your mind and tell me what you think. Yeah, it's a giant head, pretty normal for these games. And then what? Yeah, so that's kind of what you're gonna see with this game. And there's some nice ice levels in here as well. You've got pretty standard enemies as well as some pretty nutty things. Then you've got levels where you're in a spa with pigs. Just overall, this is a pretty weird game, and definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't ever heard of this before. I think there's some variants that are available on other systems. So I think there's something that does exist on the Virtual Console on the Wii or Wii U. So if you do have an opportunity, definitely recommend checking it out. I'll just let some of this footage play here out so you can check and see what this game has to offer. It's a lot of fun, puts up a good challenge. I have to say though, if you have to pick between the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo version or the Famicom, Super Famicom version, I recommend going with the Super Famicom. The controls tend to be a little more responsive and the frame rate doesn't suffer nearly as bad. There's parts of the Famicom version that when you start collecting enough options and there's a lot of motion on the screen, it really chugs. And in a game like this where there's moments of pretty much bullet hell and near impossible bosses, it gets really difficult. So definitely recommend the Super Nintendo version, or if you can find it on one of the virtual consoles, check it out. But definitely give this game a shot if you can find it. Until next time, later.